In today's show, I'm going to answer all your Power Apps questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through the comments feed on my site, and we're going to talk about SharePoint folders, SharePoint permissions, saving files in CDS or Dataverse, PDFs, and where to store those. We're going to talk about some of the mechanics of like a comment, like an append only type of comment field, and just kind of break down a bunch of the common questions you guys have, because I'm going to just walk through and answer questions. Should be fun. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with Power Apps 911. Those guys. And today's show is all about your questions in Power Apps. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through my comment feed, right? I've already done it, right? Which is really weird. I did the video out of order, but we're just going to answer a bunch of the questions in the comments fields and provide feedback. So if you got a link straight to this video in your comment, well, it's because I answered yours in here. But what we're going to do, most of the questions revolved around SharePoint. I wasn't planning, I went through the list and that's what was there. But we're going to go through, we talk about SharePoint folders, and so how to create them, how to secure them a little bit. So we'll talk about how Flow comes into play there. Talk about PDFs and some of the challenges with using like the PDF viewer, and then like how we might solve that with Dataverse, because that's what the commenter had. We end with an append only scenario. That's pretty cool, right? It was going to be a whole video and it turned into just like a 2-minute answer to one here. So it was kind of a fun little video. I don't know. As you watch it though, and please watch it or at least provide feedback. Like, nope, I hate videos that are unstructured like this, right? Because I went into all of them blind. I didn't have any like preconceived answers. I just went and answered the questions. So, but I want feedback. Do you like this? Do you hate this? Do you love this? Do you indifferent? I don't know. I just want to know, like, should I make more of these, less of these? I need your feedback on this one. So as you're watching, kind of think about that a little bit for me too. All right, with that, let's switch over to me that's already recorded, right? It's a little weird. I'm confused to start also and see what happens. Shout out to everybody on Twitter who talked me into making this video. Also remember that I also do this format of, office hours. We call this as part of my training classes. So at training.powerapps911.com, once a month, people can submit their questions and they all join live and ask me questions live. Daniel LeMay helps me, right? It's a very interactive office hour style session. We do that as part of the training offerings. And remember, those are 40% off until Wednesday. So go check that out also. Okay, this is super weird. I didn't do the intro first. I'm doing the intro later. I'm continuity. It bothers me. All right, anyway, this is my desktop. And so I'm logged into my YouTube Studio dashboard. I've grayed out a few things that you guys shouldn't be looking at, but thought you'd like to see kind of where I jump off for this. So when I jump into here, right, I get a bunch of different information. You guys can see that no one watched this video. Probably could have released it on Thanksgiving Day. We're going to call that the reason. But anyway, over here on the left, I've got comments. So over here on the comments section, it's important to understand that not all the comments come through, right? I only see the ones I haven't replied to. So this is the reason I never reply to your replies to my replies. That makes sense? I hope so. Because there's no real way to feed through these. But when I come in here, it's like, hey, here's the latest ones. So let's just dive in, take a look. All right, so Tony here says I have another query. When there was once per order and outside the cart gallery, I have multiple items in the cart, but you don't have a total. I'd like to write each line using the outside gallery data as a common item. So this shopping cart video has been really popular with questions lately. I don't know what, somebody must have tweeted or something. It's gotten popular. So I have it on the list to make a new version of this because I don't have this old app saved. So I can't just pick up where I left off. Ugh. Anyway, so to Tony's question, he has the right thought process, right? But if you watched all my videos, which hopefully you've not, but if you have, then you know that there is actually a series that shows exactly what Tony wants. So this is pretty normal. I like to answer with videos, which means I've done a good job. So I'm going to go over here to where it says content instead of videos. I'm going to right click and say open link in new tab. And so then over here, what I want is I have info path, right? So my repeating tables like info path series, this shows exactly what Tony's asking for. So I'm going to right click, copy this link. And I'll go over here, we'll reply, we'll paste. I'll do a little thumbs up. Right, the thumbs up is mostly for me to remember that I've actually responded to this one if I get confused, because in a minute I'll show you on my phone what this looks like, which is totally different. But so I'd say something like this. Tony, the series here shows exactly that. Right, because what Tony's after is he wants to provide what I think of as header data, right? So he's like, hey, what did I do at the top? Yay, header data. And then here's all the different items, all the order information. And so I showed in this repeating tables like info path video just linked to, I showed this, but I was doing it as an expense report. But you have to remember, shopping carts, expense reports, purchase order requests, CapEx things, right? All of these are actually the same concept. They're all the same, a parent record with many children records. So if you watch that series on repeating tables like InfoPath, you're like, all right, cool. I understand how to connect these parents and children and how to do that. And then you can apply it to, in this case, Tony for the shopping cart. So nice little thanks, Shane. I always love these, right? These are always good motivators. And so I'll just hit the little windows and then the little dot here. And then I'll just give them a little smiley face back. But those are always fun because I can knock those out really fast, especially on my phone. And I'm like, all right, cool. All right, Dead Set Legend Shane, thanks for another great video as we theoretically able to merge an image. Okay, so Elias here says, hey, I saw your thing where you took two images and stacked them on top of each other. I've shown that in a couple of different things. I showed it on Power Apps for Kids. And it's great because if you stack the two, right, so you take an image, put it in the background, then put a pen control on top of it, you can then write on the image. The problem is that you have at that point two images that you just have to lay over top of each other to recreate that experience. So out of the box, there is no way to merge images. But if we jump over to our friend Flo, one of the things I always encourage you guys to kind of think about is there's a bunch of, they are expensive, right? But there are third-party creators, and a lot of those have options like this. So I'm going to create an instant flow, manually trigger it, right? Because this is one of the ways that I go think. And so then here, if you go merge image, you're going to see that so you have to kind of scroll through here, but Encodian does it, right? They have image cleanups, and I believe that they have somewhere in here. So I know there's like 2 or 3 different people that can merge images for you. So you would take those and put those together like that. So you'd need a third-party subscription, and it would be a premium flow, or may or may not be a premium flow, but this is possible with a third-party tool. So if you want to merge them, you can. So Jose here said, hey, I've got a whole bunch of checkboxes on one screen, right? Notice I'm not making you guys listen to me read. And so I want to be able to reset all of those, right? So Jose, it actually is exactly that, right? In Power Apps, you can use the reset function and it will set any control back to its default state. So let's go over to Power Apps real quick and show you that. If I wasn't such a slacker, I would have had this done before. But I didn't pre-read all the comments, so I'm kind of just going blind here. But so if we grab here, what we're going to do, right, if we insert like a drop down, so we'll just do an input and a drop down. And so right now you can see that its items is the 1, 2, 3, the default, and then its default is 1. We'll just change its default to 2 just to be different. Okay. So what Jose can do is if you have a button here, you can say reset, and then the control name, so in this case drop down 1. And so if I hit play and I change drop down 1 to 3, right, something other than default, if I press this button, it will take it back to its default value. So Jose, this would work for all the controls. Any control that has a default property, this is going to work. So your checkboxes would be there. Now, what is a bummer is that if you want to reset 2 controls, so if we had, let's just throw the checkbox out here also, right? So if I want to reset both of these, there is no way to like reset multiple at once. So you have to do this. Oh, it's checkbox. And I'll be honest, I have done this and it is terrible, right? I have one app where it's probably over 100 of these reset commands. And I'm like, what do you do? But yeah, so you'd have to sit here and just go through and get all of these. And so when I do it, I just kind of like go screen by screen. I usually don't do the resets until the very end. And the reason I don't do them until the very end is because I don't want to like literally type checkbox 1 and then in requirements phase find out that, oh, we don't need checkbox 1 anymore. But I typed in reset for. Don't do that to yourself. So there you go, Jose. All right. So Tony, another question here. Okay, so Tony here is asking about, he's trying to work with images, and it looks like he solved the problem by going to base 64. So Tony, that would definitely work. I guess what I'm not sure about here is when you say image type column. This is one thing that's sometimes hard about comments. I don't get all the info. But so if the image type column, so like in SharePoint, I do this a lot with my gallery and it works just fine. But I'm guessing by image type, I'm going to guess they mean CDS. And so with CDS, you should, or Dataverse now, not CDS, you should be able to reference that column directly. So I'm kind of surprised that you weren't able to. I would be more, I guess, curious, like, are you storing the images as actual images? and things like that. Because if I have images in Dataverse, it should absolutely show. I don't know. I'm glad you got it, so I'm gonna move on. But I would have expected that you could do that, right? It'd be in your gallery. It would have been this item dot column name. So in your case, item image, and then dot, and then there should be a like a dot value there, and it should have pulled through. So surprised about that one, but not sure. All right. So this is a very popular question. Could the signature be so could you take signatures and add them as SharePoint list attachments? So there is not a direct way to do that. Right, there's no way to take a signatures input and just stick it straight into the attachment control inside of Power Apps. But one of the things that you could do is you could have a signature control and then say, hey, on submit, right, send that over via Flow, have Flow take the image, and then Flow does have a SharePoint action, right? If we go over here, let's search for SharePoint. So in SharePoint, there is a, get attachments, but there's also a update attachments, right? So if we do, I think let's try update. So if we say update item, and so if you blow out your advanced options, I got to pick an item first. Let's go to my Power Apps videos. Let's go to my employees list. You guys know where we go. There's employees. And so then now it should show us all the columns. So it doesn't show us attachment here. I would have thought it did. Okay, so if it's not there, then let's try again. Let's do add another action. And then SharePoint. And then, add attachments right in front of my nose. It would have bit me if it had been a snake. So add attachment. So that's what I would think about, right? If you wanted to have signature captures and you want to actually write them as list attachments, you're going to need Flow to do that. So then you would just take the base 64 of the images like we've talked about in my videos. You'd send that over to Flow. Flow would be, oh, cool, base 64. And then Flow would be able to take that base 64, convert it to binary, right? That base 64 to binary. No, what is that function called? Oh my goodness. Over here, expression, base 64 to binary. Ugh, brain fart. But so base 64 to binary, and then you'd be able to write that as the file content here. So that's how I would solve that particular request. Okay. So Glenn says, okay, so Glenn here is asking about folders, right? So Glenn's like, hey, I want to be able to work with and create folders. But if we go back over to Flow again, right? It's apparently the Flow show today. And we go to add an action, we go to SharePoint. And then you're like, hey, all right, now I want to create a folder. So if you search, so there is a create new folder. So you could create your new folder right here. And so then one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, but you can provide dynamic data for like your folder name, right? So like if we go here to SharePoint, and then we said add a file. Let's just do SharePoint create file. Oh, that's not how you spell create file, but it'll work. So there's create file. So one of the things that you can do here, so like if we choose our document library, so let's use our Power Apps videos again, and then you choose your document library, shared documents down here somewhere, there it is. So you're like, all right, cool, I did that, but the folders can be dynamic, right, in this question. Well, remember, you can just go right here and be like, I want to add dynamic content. And so then we're just going to add the username of the person that triggered this, right? I mean, you're not really going to do that. But so most likely what you're going to probably do is like add in Power Apps, right? So do a slash here. I get real grouchy this thing. Let's try this again. Add dynamic content. And so if Power Apps was my trigger, we could add from Power Apps. What I want to do is a timestamp. Okay, I want to go right here and throw a slash in. All right, and so if it's being grumpy, so I might have tricked it. It might have let me get the slash. If it wasn't cooperating, what you'd probably end up doing, honestly, right, because it's going to keep getting blown away, is I just go the step before it. I do a compose, and then be like, all right, my compose is slash timestamp like we were just doing. And so then down here, it'd be shared documents, and then the output of compose, boom. But anyway, so now that you kind of see that you can make folder names dynamic, so we showed you how to create a folder, you make them dynamic as well. That is all fun. Also, because you mentioned permissions kind of over there, I'm going to also just remind you guys that I keep meaning to do a video on this and I haven't done it yet, but there is a bunch of, what's it called? Security? Nope. SharePoint has, there's so many SharePoint actions, I can't remember them anymore. So grant access to an item or folder. So this is a way to give permissions to a folder. And then there is a way to stop sharing an item or folder. So you could, create the folder, yay. Stop sharing the folder, yay. And then grant access to the permissions, yay. Oh, it's like a whole video in like a 2-minute comment. But that is the way that you would do all of this, Glenn, right? So it's all possible, it's all there, but Flow is going to kind of come in there and play a big part of that. All right, next up. Okay, Jonas here, and I apologize if I get anybody's names wrong. I'm not very good at pronouncing things. I grew up in the South in America. I do not a lot of diverse names there. Anyway, what do you do? So looking at this, right? So the question is, hey, I want to create PDFs. Yay, they did that. And then once they got the PDFs, so they want to kind of pull those back in. So a couple of things to keep in mind here, right? One is when you create these PDFs, you have to save the HTML file in OneDrive and then use the convert action in OneDrive, right? Like we talked about in the videos. But remember, you can save them wherever you want. Once you've done those 2 steps, the output of the convert action is what you use to create a new file. You can create the file in SharePoint, in CDS, or Dataverse, not CDS, OneDrive, right? You can create it wherever you want. And once you use the create file action, you have the link. So the link is kind of the key, right? You want to then pass that link back via your flow to Power Apps. And then over there, what you can do, right, is you can use that link. The challenge you want to run into though, right? I know what your problem is. In Power Apps, right, we have where's this dumb little thing? We have this PDF viewer. I have never successfully used this control for a customer solution, okay? The reason for that is that this control does not support files that are behind an authenticated data source like SharePoint or OneDrive, right? The file has to be either saved directly in the app or the file has to be in an anonymous type of URL or it can't be pulled in. So without those restrictions, we almost never end up using this particular one. Now, what I would tell you though, what's interesting for me and what I would think about, let's go back to you. So you're using CDS. Remember that CDS, Dataverse, has a file content type or file column type, right? So like if we go back over here and you go to data and then tables, which used to be called entities, we'll go to like the Chewy tracker here. And then if I add a column, remember that there is a file column type. So what if you stored your PDF here? Then I would be curious. I haven't tried it, but I'd be curious. I would think that the PDF viewer might be able to show the file because at this point it doesn't have to authenticate. Dataverse would just be like, here's your file back. And so I would try this. I would try storing your files here. It is going to increase your Dataverse storage, but it might enable a scenario for you that's mostly not possible. So I don't know. Sounds like fun. All right, there's another one. Okay, so this one's one of the classic ones like, hey, I followed your video exact, but I'm getting an error. But one of the things that's really kind of tough here is that there's like not enough information to fill it back in, right? And looking at this, you change the update property for the field, but in SharePoint it's still showing as required info error. So I don't know, you would just have to go and look at the fields. Like a lot of times the recommendation, if this is broken, is I'm like, hey, start over, right? Start back with a clean form. Does it work? Yay. Then start following my video to make the little modifications and see if you can find the breaking point. I don't know. These are tough ones because there's not enough info here to help. So a lot of times I'll just comment like, I'm not sure. Sorry. All right. So this is another one. So really cool. How'd you create the first table with the checkbox? Can you point to the other video, please? Thanks. I would love to. The problem here is that, while you just watched the video, I don't remember the video at all. Like I barely remember. I mean, I remember what I did there, but I don't remember like what video it was or what I did at any point. So if you ever have questions like this, leave me a timestamp so that way I can quickly find it because I'm not going to go watch this whole video to find out what I did. Now I am going to tell you that I think that the answer to that question is right here. I'm like 99% sure, but I mean, this video's, over a year old. That video's somewhere in between. So I'm going to just kind of do something like this. I think it was this video. I think it was this video. And if you guys are wondering why I'm not typing into all these other people, because all those other people, I'm going to give them a link to this video. I'm like, hey, I talked about your comment here. So only the ones that I'm not helping too much are there. All right, next up. Okay, so I think what Chris is asking, right, and this is one of those ones where I'm not positive, so I kind of put my own spin of like what I think he's asking. So one of the things that comes up sometimes, let's go over here, let's make ourselves a new screen. And so this is the idea, and I have this on the list of videos I actually want to make, and that is I want to have like a running comments field, right? But I want to just kind of have it an append only type of scenario. So let's bolt this in. We'll add our friend SharePoint. So data source, SharePoint. And so we're going to just quickly kind of mock this up real quick. All right, so we'll pull in my employees list like usual, right? Voop. I said voop. That means all you're supposed to show, but it didn't. So then we'll do employees here. Okay, so there's my employees list. And so the reason I wanted this is, let's say that I believe in here there is a field called note. There you go. And it is a bunch of garbage. So let's not use Nicola's record because I've already put some junk in there, but Greg's note field is currently empty. So we will select Greg's record. And so here what I'm going to do is I'm like, hey, I want to have a running history of kind of what's happened with this. So I do not want a list box. So first off, we're going to have a text box. And up here, we're going to be like, hey, I want you to be gallery1.selected.note. Okay, so that would show all the old notes. And then we want to have a second one here. And so that would be where I would add a new note. So we're just going to throw this right here. And we'll change this out. And then we need a button. And we're going to say, hey, when they click on this button, what do I want to do? I want to patch employees. And which one we're going to patch? We're going to patch the gallery1.selected. And what field we're going to patch? We're going to patch note. And we're going to make note be, well, we need to be able to know what the name of these fields are. We're going to say, I want it to be label 1 plus text input 1. Right? So I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say note label 1. Label 1.text and text input 1.text. So something like that. And so let's hit play and let's try leaving a note. So let's just be like note 1, hit button. All right, that works. And so then we should have used, let's use the reset from the other person's video, right? So then we'll say, hey, after you do that, reset text input 1.text. Oh, not text, just the control name, Shane. There you go. All right, so then we'll do note 2. Oh, now put them on the same line. Let's put note 3 in there as well. So you can see that we're appending the field. So we are doing what we wanted, but now I'd have to start thinking about how do I separate these out? And a lot of times that's going to depend on the control in the field. So what I want to do first, let's see if Nicola's record gives me a hint. So Nicola, so because that label is just using text, it's not breaking those out, right? BR is the HTML equivalent of a line break. So let's delete out text input 1, make everything mad. That's all right. Let's throw in a HTML text control. And then droop. And then we're going to change this one to be gallery1.selected.note. Oh, look at that. Running note. I like it. So we'll just change this. Make, hey, you. Instead of that, you can just show me HTML text 1.html text. Thank you. And so let's add to Nicola. Let's add line 3. Oh, all right. So that will append. So then what you want to do now is we're going to be all right. Well, I really want whatever they've got in HTML text, and we're just going to hard code a couple of BRs in there, right? Breaks. And so then now if we do that and we do line 4, what do we get? Ooh. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing that I a lot of times do though is like, hey, I want to know like everything that happened. That's fair. So then maybe it's really like 2 breaks. And then I want to include, oh, I do not want to do that. I really want to know who did it, right? So we're going to add a user.fullname. And then how about a little like something like this, like a little doom and doom. And then we're going to add now. And then we're going to do another break. So then we'll do another break like so. Oh my goodness. Typing's hard, people. There you go. So this is what happens now. Now if we click the button, oh, so this would be line 5. And so look, now we get, it was done by Shane Young at this time. So this would give us a way to build running notes or running comments about it, right? I wanted to make a whole video about this. I think I just wasted my whole video in this comments video, but that's all right. Comments about comments. But that's kind of fun, right? That's a neat way to go after this. So, all right. That's a pretty cool solution, I think. I hope that's what you're asking, right? That's the other thing. Sometimes I just have to guess if I got it right or not. All right. So that's, my first run at this, right? We did 20 some odd minutes of this. A couple other things here I want to talk about before we close this out though. One is that you can kind of see, so you see the interface here, so you understand a little bit better about how I'm answering these. Also over on the side, I forget which one of my sides it is. I think it's that side. Right now I'm going to kind of show you guys what it looks like on my phone. Now notice here on my phone, what's different is that you don't get, it shows me all the comments, not just the ones I responded to. So that's why I sometimes lose comments, because primarily I respond to comments from my phone. And so when I do it from my phone, what's really tough is, I'm counting on my little thumbs up, right, to know that I've responded to that comment already. And occasionally I'll miss one here and there. So that's how sometimes I miss some of your comments. So I apologize for that. I'll also be honest, right? If comments get too far behind, so if I get more than 2 weeks behind, or if I miss yours, like if I find, like if we scroll to the bottom of this, you'd see that there's some after 3 months old. And I just miss those. I'm sorry. It happens. I respond to a little over 500 comments a month though. So I really try. All right. The other thing I want to know is like, do you guys like this? Does this help? Leave me feedback on this video. I need to know, like, is this a viable solution? Can I do this more often? Or you're like, no, don't ever do this again. This was terrible. I didn't even watch it, so I don't even know to provide feedback. But if you liked it, let me tell also. I don't know. I wanted to try this type of video for a while. I didn't get through as many as I wanted, but I feel like we answered them more thoroughly. So maybe I just need to answer faster next time. I don't know. I'm open to your ideas. Cool. I guess with that, I'm just going to say thanks and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to click on the subscribe button over here so that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you need any help or you want to work together, whether your problem's big or small, check us out at Power Apps 911. We do it all. I rhymed. Or if you're looking for more formal training offerings, we have those linked up here somewhere. So check them out. Thanks and have a great day.